Guys, so it's been a little while, but I'm getting back into making some videos here. I've also started trying to stream on Twitch a little bit. But for today, I was working on some more character design stuff, which if you know me at all, that is like my favorite thing to do ever. So I thought I would go ahead and record and kind of do a little walkthrough video. So for today I'm working on a character named Caspar. He's from my project, my illustrated novel project Thireador. That's, for the most part, that's pretty much what all of my art, unless it's just another character for fun or like commissions or things like that. For the most part, everything I do is for this illustrated project. And this guy, I've written him several times in the story. I know about his character. I know who he ends up. I know everything that I need to know about him as far as his character goes, but I didn't really have a set design for him as far as what he actually looks like. I have his description down. I know roughly how I want him to look. He's pretty young when we meet him. He's about like a 4-month-old pup, so I wanted him to have baby features. We're going to see him again as like an adolescent, like teen, and then he'll have an adult design as well. So those will be things that I can come back for, and I'm excited to do like maybe future videos of, is taking these designs that we're coming up with today and kind of aging him. But yeah, for as far as his design goes, he's very simple. I wanted a very simple character. So he's just an all black wolf pup. No special markings on him. Most of my characters have pretty straightforward, simple designs, easy to recognize. Um, as far as their silhouettes go, their shapes, their body contours and things, and then their markings and colors. I want them to be pretty recognizable pretty easily. But I also think that it's important to have some that don't rely on all of the colors and the markings and fancy details and stuff like that. So I really wanted to do that with somebody, and with Caspar, for whatever reason, he ended up being a really good victim. So yeah, so for designing this puppy character, I'm trying to make sure I stick with round shapes. I don't have a lot of young characters. Most of them are older, like teens, young adult, whether it's a person or an animal. So I am really trying to make myself figure out puppy shapes here. So that's what I started with first, is I'm not really putting in any refined features. I'm not worrying about how the eyes look or like a nose shape for him or anything. I'm just kind of putting down like here's a head. There's some ears. I want him to have large ears because he's a puppy and he's got those big chilly puppy ears. Trying to figure out like the eye shapes here. Like I said, he doesn't have any actual markings, but I'm trying to figure out how to also map the features on his face. Since he doesn't have any markings, I can't cheat and use those. So he still needs to be recognizable, and I still need to be able to draw him from a bunch of different angles, and he needs to be consistent regardless. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out here, is how can I design that? How can I make that happen by kind of figuring out the map for his face as I go? And that's what the circles around the eyes are going to be for, looking at like the orbital bone, the socket space, coming up with how the features can sit in that area even without having markings to kind of help me out without having to draw a bunch of like extra lines and go way off base and do a bunch of extra work to try to make something consistent, when I should be able to just kind of use a couple of lines and measure visually. So I wanted to do these kind of 3/4 shots, one kind of from above, one from the side. I'm going to do another one of him facing forward. That one was a little harder for me to do. I'm going to have struggled with that just a little bit here. So for Caspar's character, like I said, he's supposed to be a puppy. He's about 4 months old when we meet him in the story initially. He's a pretty significant character. He has a pretty big role to fill. We don't honestly see him. There's going to be a couple times where he disappears for a while. He's going to have a couple different designs. He's got this one as the baby. When we meet him initially, he's going to have like a teen design and then a young adult design. Those are things that I'm also going to need to do. I need to design those. For today, we're just doing these 3 headshots, and we'll have them colored by the end. It's just a simple, three little headshots for now. I'll end up making him like a full character design, like model sheet with full body pose and like his body shape, and some poses in general for him. I want to do that for everybody. I've made several throughout the years. This is a really big project. Like I said, it's a novel project for the most part. It's about the writing, most importantly, it started out as a comic actually, because I always saw the characters in the world and the story as a very visual kind of thing. But it ended up, for one thing, taking me way too long to tell the story by doing it that way. And for another, I also found that just writing and using descriptions and being able to really tell you what the characters are feeling and actually using the language to describe that seemed to work better for the story and what I wanted to tell overall. That said, it is still a very big visual experience for me. I see the characters very clearly. I can see the environments, the world that they live in, the places that they're going to go, the landscapes, the buildings. All the characters have costumes and outfit designs, and they wear very specific things for specific reasons, and these things change depending on the areas they're in and time of year and through the story. So for me, it's a very it's a very serious project that takes up a lot of brain power. And I've been working on this very consistently for several years, but I don't have a ton of show for it because a lot of it is just sketching down doodles and things that I really can't share because it gives away a lot of the story. So I'm trying to kind of focus on things that I can share that doesn't take away from the story and doesn't have a bunch of spoilery kind of stuff because it is a big project I'm excited about. Eventually, I'll be releasing it just like chapter by chapter online. It'll have visual components along with it. I want to release each chapter, and then also have like art companions to go along with it, like sketches of the characters and environment studies and things like that. So I wanted to actually have a design for this guy here because I didn't have a set design for him. So that's what I'm working on today. He's one of the, like I said, he has a significant role, but he is kind of one of the side characters. The main trio, as far as being on the animal side of things goes, they meet up with him. My OBS was lagging, well, causing my computer to lag pretty bad. So I had to struggle with Photoshop a little bit here and there. I tried to edit out most of that. I'm working on getting that to a better spot because I do want to get back into streaming on Twitch. I used to do that on YouTube. Had like a small, consistent audience over there, but I also want to try on Twitch, and I'm probably going to stay over there for the most part for streaming, but I do want to keep making videos for YouTube also. But yeah, so I'm just working on face shapes for Caspar. I really want him to be consistent. I noticed that his muzzle looked a little bit too mature here. It looks too much like an adult muzzle. It was a little bit too long and thin. Needed to be squished up a little bit more. I'm not used to drawing puppies at all, so this is a big, like, trial and error kind of project. I'm figuring out how to measure the muzzle shapes here, so I was kind of putting down, okay, where does the end of, like, the front part of the muzzle meet up with the jawline there, and then where is it going to meet up underneath the cheek, and kind of realized that the one side was a little bit too far out, so we moved it in. But that worked a little bit better. It's not great, it's not perfect, these are definitely not perfect. I'm just trying things, trying to figure it out as I go. Oh yeah, I noticed his head was, I was gonna say, it looks a little big. Trying to keep the puppy proportions, keep his large ears and his large forehead, but not making it so long and wide that it looks too mature like an adult. And then we're going to move into some of the inking. These are just, I wasn't trying to be too careful with all of this. I really wanted to figure out his eye shapes. I don't have a lot of characters with really big, large eyeballs. Like I said, most of them are like teen, young adult, adult. I don't have a lot of baby characters, so I wanted to push that with myself here. Give myself an excuse to draw big, obnoxious eyeballs. Trying to figure out the shape for them is a little bit hard because from the side they look really cute and large and round and babyish, but then I'm going to have to make that consistent depending on, or regardless of what angle that we're going to be in, so that was a bit harder for me with the other two angles. Yeah, he's supposed to be like 4 months old, cute, very, very innocent, just looking for a friend. And this is a world where the main character that we start out with is very cynical, very just full of himself. He has, my favorite thing to say about him is that he has a raging superiority complex. And he's a character that people don't really take too kindly, don't really care for. So this little puppy character shows up and is harassing him and is travel mate at the time, you know, for some company. And they're like a bunch of weird stuff has just happened in the forest near where they live. Their families have just been destroyed. They're lost. They're young characters themselves. I mean, they're like you're like young adult, like the human equivalent of being like a 12 or 13-year-old. Traversing the woods by themselves and unsure of where to go, and hearing about all these weird political things that their families may or may not have been involved in that they were kept in the dark for. Um, Here comes this little puppy out of the trees, um, asking to play, and that just doesn't sit right with them at this point. Um, so I need him to be cute. I need him to be adorable and very hard to turn away. um, the one character, Lorza, is very much a maternal kind of character, and she takes to him right away. It is just, she just lost her family, and she's one of those very family oriented kinds of characters, whereas the other guy, Denza, is very much, you're on your own, everybody for themselves. He had a family, but doesn't exactly mourn them the same way that she does by any means. Um, so she's very much wanting to take care of this little baby, and he's feeling very like, why is there a baby in the woods here? Like, our family's got finished off when we were lucky. How this little baby get away? He's clearly naive. What's going on? So he's suspicious of this guy for a couple of reasons. Um, and I mean, they all get involved with the politics and the things that are happening at this time. But as far as the puppy goes, he's just looking for a buddy, and he's very young and doesn't know any better, and he knows that he can kind of prey on the one character's kind of maternal instincts a little bit. He feels very comfortable with that. And while the other one doesn't trust him, doesn't want him around at all, he knows that Larza does. So he's able to kind of lean into that. He's a good guy. Like he's a good little pupper. He gets mixed up in the wrong crowd eventually. Goes through some stuff, but I wanted to make his puppy design appealing and easy for me to replicate because I want more experience and practice with designing characters that I don't know already. I have a lot of characters. There's a lot of characters in this story. There are a lot of other characters I've done as far as like, for role plays and other things like that, and just other personal stories. That I care about a lot and that mean a lot to me. But this story kind of takes the cake as far as being the biggest deal project I've ever done. And I really want everybody to kind of have their own space and kind of hold their own there. So I really wanted this little guy to have a sheet, and I realized recently when I was kind of editing some stuff that I've never actually drawn a consistent page for him, and I needed to figure that out. So that's what this is. Just keeping it simple for today. Just wanted to figure out a couple of different angles to go. I can actually see doing the... Oh yeah, here I was going to try to see if like maybe a little dark spot on the nose would be kind of cute, but no. Need to keep it simple. That's the whole point of his character, is that he has a very simplistic design. I needed more of those where the characters don't have a ton going on. But yeah, I really wanted to figure out kind of how his face is going to look and focus more on that. So this is just a very simple little page for this guy. We're gonna make it pretty in a second. We're gonna put it on like a nice textured background. I really like detailing eyes even when it's totally unnecessary and you won't even see it. That I don't know, that's just something that I really really enjoy doing. And a lot of my characters do have like a darker rim or like one darker side and then one brighter value. So I do like doing that a lot. Eyes are a very exciting part for me to paint. So, but yeah, so I went ahead and put him on this little paper, this little texture paper. Like I said, he'll have a full model sheet. I'll come back and do like a full body design. I might try to do a video of that, or I might try streaming it. As far as figuring out what his body design is going to look like. Yeah, I realized when I was looking at it that his one pupil is significantly tinier than the other, and that was driving me crazy. So, came in here to fix that. So we're just gonna fix that up in the end here. But yeah, I'd really like to put some more, share a little bit more about this project that I'm working on. It is a big deal for me. I've been working on it for a very long time, kind of passively, and then I've had a few years kind of digging more into it. The writing itself is taking up quite a bit of time. Currently, I'm at 800 pages on spread out a bunch between a bunch of Google Docs folders and stuff, which is just kind of getting into the first kind of quarter of the story. So it's a very big project. I'm very excited for it. There's a lot that goes on. And yeah, I want to work more on the visual stuff. And now that I'm getting back into all of this, I'd like to share that and be able to do this kind of stuff more often. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was fun. I'm gonna do some more of this, and I'll get back into the swing of things as far as editing and streaming and all that good stuff. But yeah, I definitely appreciate anybody hanging around and watching this, and I will hopefully see you again later.